Well, let me ask you, what do you think about like what Darth says, like presuppositionalism?
That's the only way that you can that a Christian should argue from a presupposition that God exists. To do it any other ways is not Christian.
Yeah, not to. Were you saying you have to argue that you should take the presupposition God exists,
Yes.
or uh, yeah, maybe. But like, it seems to me like if you say I just presuppose it, then there is no need for an argument. Like anyone can presuppose anything. Like I can just presuppose God doesn't exist, right?
Right. You can, but then we have to get into the point of why. Okay, now we can get into all those in the future, but if we're the only other option is evidential apologetics. In other words, I've got to present you with evidence from God. So, and in the Christian worldview, everything is evidence from God. In the atheist worldview, nothing is evidence from God for God.
What do you mean by evidence?
Evidence. Evidence is a self. Everyone knows what evidence is.
Yeah, but the issue that I'm having is that I don't see how everything is evidence for God. By like that
Right.
the common
You
sense
see. You
definition.
see. Okay. Do you see that nothing is evidence from God?
I don't know.
Okay.
Haven't
Is there
thought about
any?
it.
Is there anything that you've ever seen that is evidence for a God existing?
Yeah, some God concepts. Yeah, there's a lot of things that
I
could
didn't
be.
say God I'm not talking about concepts. Okay. Concepts are just a word that means it's like in a dictionary.
I'm saying some conceptions of God. That's what I'm saying.
I
I
don't know
think
what that
some
means.
things should be. Yeah, like someone could just posit a God, like the Muslim God, the Christian God, the Hindu gods, so on.
That's
I
not
think.
evidence.
Well, no, you asked me if I saw something in the real world that I would consider evidence for those gods, and I'm saying that yeah, some God concepts you can have evidence for them in things you see in the real world. Like if I just posit a God that wants to create like trees, then if I see
Okay.
trees that's consistent
Let
with
let
what.
let 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 me do this in a different way. Okay. When I say God, I mean the creator and sustainer of everything. The one who has spoken existence out of nothing. Okay? I'm not talking about God concepts. I'm not talking about thunder being Thor. Okay? So I'm not talking about
Yeah,
God concepts. I'm talking about the ultimate uh, creator and
just the
sustainer
creation.
of the universe.
Yeah.
Okay?
No,
So
but the issue that I'm having.
is there anything that you have seen in your lifetime that was evidence for that God to be real?
Um, I'm not sure. I'll have to think about it. But like the issue that I'm having, Tim, is that like when someone says something is evident, like someone posits a theory or like a theory. I'm not saying like a scientific theory, just any something you posit. Like my mom is home, God exists, something like that. For you to say that an observation is evidence, it has to be predicted by the hypothesis, right? Like to say, let's just say you have two hypotheses. God
I,
exists.
I'm done talking to you, Murphy. You talk in circles all the time. You want to play
Oh,
the definition game. You want to go, and what it is it's simple. This is simple. You want to try to go to an 18,000 foot overlook of it, and I'm asking you simple questions, and then you say I don't know.
no, I understand. And
Either you've seen things that is evidence of the Almighty God who created the universe and sustains it, or you haven't. You can't say I'd have to think about it or I don't know, because here's the
right.
lie: if you
Let me
did,
just respond. Let me just
if you
respond to what you said.
okay, I'll just let you talk and I'll just listen. You just lecture me on what you want. Okay, cool.
I was just gonna say that if I was in a position where I also realized that like I'm in over my head and I'm probably gonna get PTFO'd, I would also say that I don't want to talk to you because you're a waste of time. You know? That's it. That's
No,
all I want to say.
I don't get to talk. You talk. Go ahead.
No, that's all I want to say. I just want to. I'll repeat it. That's fine. I was just saying that if I also realize that I'm in over my head and I'm gonna get destroyed if I continue in this conversation, I would also say something like, "Well, you're just a waste of time to get out of it." So I expect you to do this.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
So
Have a
surprising.
nice day.
Goodbye. You still here? I thought you were gonna leave. No, but seriously, for the people listening, like, if we have two hypotheses, like for example, there is a God that created the universe, and there is like a mechanism that created the universe. What it means to say that you have evidence for something over another one is that this thing is predicted by the first hypothesis, but not predicted by the second one, right? So I just don't understand when people say that he left. When people say that something is evidence for God over like the other hypothesis, I just don't understand why. Right? It just seems to be false.